Hi, this is Trey Passer. I was actually looking for movies to watch, and I can't, I love whole Hollywood movies. I like horror, and I was looking for like I typed in Bela Lugosi for just to see, what's his films were, and because I remember a movie, I think it was called Mark of the Vampire. Yeah, but I saw Return of the Vampire, and I remember because I seen this movie I think years ago. Return of the Vampire. This is Bela Lugosi plays a character named Armand Tesler, and I think it takes place in like in the 1918s. And he has this servant, this werewolf that actually talks, which I thought was absolutely hilarious at the time when I watched it the first time. He has a man servant that serves him, a werewolf servant that helps him. But the thing is, the character that's the werewolf, he actually he looks more like the Shaggy DA. If you look at the Shaggy DA, he looks more like that than a werewolf. Okay, but in any event, this werewolf can talk. Okay, which which even makes it even more hilarious. That when I watched it the first time, and so I watched it again today, and it pretty aside from that silly fact of him, having this werewolf servant that actually looked more like a dog than a werewolf, and that could actually talk. It's not as bad as I thought it was. Again, it's by Armin Tesla. He's supposed to be this German scientist that has this uh, preoccupation with the supernatural, and then when he dies, he becomes a vampire. That's what they say. He has a preoccupation with supernatural, and then he turns into a vampire. And then around 1918, he like stalks this young girl. Okay, and uh, the uh, there's a character that finds out. He discovers the marks on her neck. Dr. Walter Sand, him and Lady Jane, what's her name, Lady Jane Aslin. They discover the marks on the young girl's neck and that she's lost a lot of blood. And then he figures out, okay, this is the work of a vampire. And they actually go by to the nearby cemetery, and they actually, find this coffin, and then they actually drop a stake into his heart and kill him. And then, of course, his werewolf manservant, faints. And of course, they discover him, and the Lady Jane actually takes him back, and then it flash forwards to like I think how many years, like about 20 something years or 25 years, and it's during World War II in London, where Lady Jane is still alive, and she's older, of course, and she has the guy Ansley, I think what's his name, Andreas. He was the werewolf guy with she explains with lots of therapy and stuff. He overcomes his weakness to Tesla. Okay, and so he's working with Lady Jane, and Lady Jane's her son and his childhood friend who got attacked all those years ago. They grow up and they're about to get married, and then since it's World War II in London, they have the bombing raids and stuff, and then one of the German bombs that they drop actually unearths Tesla's grave. Okay, and these grave diggers, they see they see the coffin, they come upon the coffin, and they see it that that they see that the body's in there with with a stake in it, and they decide to pull it out, and of course you hear the guy make a sound, and then which freaks them out, but they still they say let's just bury him, and they bury him, and of course he comes back. Bela Lugosi, he comes back, and it just takes him like 2 minutes to he runs into his manservant again, and he just it takes him about two. In the manservant, it's funny because the manservant goes, you have no power over me, Lady Jane. She exercised that. You can't control me anymore with your evil. And he goes, you don't have no power in this, like in 2 seconds, and he's back to a werewolf serving him again. Like, so much for therapy, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. And then of course he goes about getting up looking for the grown up girl that he attacked when she was little. She's a grown woman now, and so he's attacking her again. And so Lady Jane, and she has to try to convince the police that all those years ago we stopped a vampire. Okay, and then they have to figure out because Bela Lugosi's character Tesla, he changes his name and he gets these papers because Lady Jane, she helps she helps people escape from the Nazis from Germany, and she gives them false paper. And Andreas, the werewolf slash assistant, he's the one that usually meets them and gives them the papers and stuff. So he gives Andreas, Bela Lugosi, the papers from a scientist that they were supposed to rescue, and so he assumes a different identity. Okay, and he comes back. Now technically, you would have to say, wait a minute, didn't she see him when the guy staked him the first time? But I guess if you look at the shot of it, he's in the front for it, the guy staking him, and she's like behind him. So I guess maybe she didn't look into the coffin to see him, so she doesn't know what he looks like. Okay, but you just assumed. I just assumed that she saw when the old man staked him, that what he looked like, but of course he doesn't. So he comes to the house and meets them and introduces himself as this scientist and stuff. And then, like I said, then we get the attacks on the young girl that's a young woman now. Okay, and you see the same bite marks. And again, Lady Jane, she has to try to convince the police who doesn't want the police chief who doesn't want to believe this, even though she tries to explain to him, listen, this happened to us all those years ago. Okay, we wind up killing him, and now he's back. Probably wanting revenge. And then her son gets attacked, and so they have to try to find Bela Lugosi's character and kill him and free the werewolf slash slave and stuff and stop him. Of course, this movie, it wasn't as bad as I remember, because when you see things when you're a little bit younger, and like I said, the part that just threw me for a loop was just the werewolf talking. Again, first of all, the fact that he was talking, and the second of all, he looked more like the Shaggy DA than the actually werewolf, like Lon Chaney werewolf thing. He looks more like the Shaggy DA. If you remember how the one with Dean Jagger, what's his name? No, not Dean Jagger. What's his name? The first Shaggy DA movie from Disney, and you know how they showed him change into a dog, and he was more like he had the note. He had really like a note, that round note, rather than like Lon Chaney's makeup. He looked more like, and he had the scary looking teeth, but he looked more like I guess I was gonna say more like the Michael Landon. I Was a Teenage Werewolf than except less scary, I would say. He looked more doggish than a werewolf. I thought that was funny, and the fact that he was talking made it even more hilarious. But it was pretty good. And like Bela Lugosi always brings a certain class to his roles and stuff, and he's playing it straight for the most part, and it was a decent movie. Just it's nothing too fantastic and stuff, but it felt the time, and it didn't seem like a complete waste of time. Okay, I've seen definitely worse movies than this. Okay, but again, Bela Lugosi, I think he was good. I think the lady that played Lady Jane, she was really good. Even the actor, I felt sorry for the actor who had to play the manservant slash werewolf because he had to, the talking as a werewolf just, it kind of just threw you because you're not used to werewolf talking. That part, if you can get past that part, I think the actor did a good job, especially trying to because if you watch it to the end, he redeems himself. Okay, and it's a okay movie. It's like I said, especially if you're a Bela Lugosi fan. Okay, I think it was a decent movie. Okay, and had the right amount of atmosphere and stuff in it, and especially, and then of course it was May. I think it was May, right? Yeah, during the 1943, around the World War II was going on. So they actually used real life events in it, and that made it more real in that sense. So I would give Return of the Vampire. I would give it a 7. I would give it a 7, even with this silly werewolf talking and stuff, and Bela Lugosi, who is this class personified. And again, like I said, the lady that plays Lady Jane, she was really convincing, and she was, they played it straight. It wasn't, even though there was moments, like I said, when the werewolf was talking and was just absolutely ridiculous, and the grave robbers were like more comedy relief than anything else. But it was actually not a bad movie, so I'd give it a 7. Okay, anyway, let me know what you think. Have you seen Return of the Vampire, 1943? Let me know what you think of that. Feel free to leave comments down below. I have links to my social media in the description box, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also have a link to my other channel, Bob Views and Opinions. We check that out as well. Also have a link down below to my Patreon. And again, my Patreon's only $5 a month. Tons of content on there. I want to say a special thank you to my patron. His name will appear in this video somewhere. I want to say thank you to him for supporting me, always having my back. Okay, and again, I have tons of unedited content on my Patreon. All 4 parts of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Stargirl Season 1, Stargirl Season 2, The Mandalorian, I have Boba Fett, Superman and Lois, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Doom Patrol Season 3, Titan Season 3, and also I'm going to be doing Superman and Lois Season 2, which starts next week. And again, please follow the link to the Patreon. Again, only $5 a month. And again, give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.